All right, guys, time to debunk this idea that Russell Brand is being MeToo'd for any other reason that he is a man. That's the reason why he's going. He's just the next male celeb on the list. And yet people are going to try to make this about his political views, like the powerful elites want to get him because of his political views. And it's just not so. I'm going to prove it so. Now, there's Brianna Joy Gray. She's anxious to get Russell Brand because he's a man. And she's basically debating with Blumenthal here, Max Blumenthal, who, of course, derails and misframes the issue and tries to make it about the elites trying to get at Russell Brand. Now, I'll get here and we'll see, this will prove right here, what this is actually about.
Public will not believe anything about Russell Brand because of the way that the mainstream media has conducted itself. And that's what needs to be considered here. The mainstream media has indeed proven itself an enemy of the people.
Max, let's play that thought experiment that you opened up there out a little bit. I completely take your point that the media has made itself untrustworthy, but there are aspects of these allegations that Russell Brand has admitted to in his books as part of his rehabilitation process. And so there's a separate conversation that I think needs to be had about what it means to be
rehabilitation. In other words, he sees himself in trouble, Brand does, and he made the mistake of apologizing. Guys do this all the time. Guys who get MeToo'd, they apologize thinking it's going to smooth things over, but what it's doing is throwing chum in the water for these sharks.
Rehabilitated, whether or not there's anything that someone like Russell Brand or anybody else who has admitted to being misogynistic.
Whoa, there you go. She didn't say he is guilty of sexual misconduct. She says he's a misogynist. And the misogynist just means man who doesn't know his place. It's an N-word for the average guy. So Brianna just admitted what this is really about, right? What's happened is that Brand has been enjoying an easy life with the ladies, and now they're tired of him and they're coming after him, right?
And be in the past and being embarrassed about their past behavior can do to really make amends to their victims and move forward. But
he has no victims. There's been no evidence shown that he has raped any woman or sexually assaulted anyone. Okay, so there are no victims. So the fact that she's calling them victims says she's a liar. Brianna's a liar here.
Taking your thought experiment, even if it is true, the media has discredited itself, that's fine. But if it is true, what do you think is a reasonable and responsible response from a institution like Google or anyone else? And what should the response be from viewers
This is because he's been demonetized, right? And the response is, unless you're proven to be a criminal, you just let things go. So they're punishing Brand at a woman's word. So it's another lynching. Do you see?
If people do find, even if it's not illegal, it to be distasteful for him to have had this relationship with.
Did you hear what she just said? It doesn't matter if it's not illegal. It might be distasteful. Well, Brianna, men should not be fired because someone finds things distasteful. Frankly, because people don't like men, they find their sexuality distasteful. So you're basically punishing men for their sexual activity, which I am 100% against.
The 16-year-old or the like.
Oh, wait, she mentioned 6-year-old? Let me bring this up.
It to be distasteful for him to have had this relationship with a 16-year-old or the like.
Russell Brand lives in Britain. The age of consent is 16, so he was having a relationship with a grown woman. Just like here in Canada, ours is 16, so a 16-year-old person is a grown person. Do you understand that? So he hasn't done anything wrong.
What would be appropriate? Would it be appropriate for Google, or let's say again in the analogy, Uber, to say you can no longer drive my cars through me, you can no longer monetize yourself on my app?
Well, the appropriate thing for the person being persecuted is to sue Google or Uber for firing them without cause.
Because you engaged in a relationship with a 16-year-old, or you were coercive, or
With a grown woman. Well, nothing. That's not illegal. And she admits it's not illegal, right? She just finds it distasteful, everyone.
or did some of the things that she accused of him, like removing a condom in the midst of sexual intercourse without her consent.
Her accusations don't mean anything. There's no proof behind it, everyone. You can file that under, it's just a story. It's just a rumor.
Consent, those kinds of things.
Which Julian Assange was accused of doing that, and he's been cleared of all rape charges, but it was the rape charges that were used to basically hole him up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, make him
See how Blumenthal misframes this? Because Assange really was a victim of the government. The government wants to get him, and they use these sexual assault allegations as a tool to get at him. Russell Brand's the opposite. The state is being used as a tool by women. They've changed the law so men have our rights stripped away. They're using the government to get after them. They're saying, you know, here's our fake stories. We don't have to show our faces in court or give our names, and just go get him. No evidence or proof is necessary. You see, so these are not the same cases here. Okay. Okay, now that you understand what the issues really are, what the motivation to get Brand really is, well, beginning at the beginning here, and I'll give a bit of commentary here.
Blumenthal joins us now to discuss. Welcome, Max.
good to see you.
And I believe that clip was from just before the accusations became public. You know, we've been discussing them a lot on the show, and obviously there's, you know, the context of the accusations themselves are one thing, but I think it's impossible and should be, you know, taken seriously, and we've been discussing them very seriously. And
No, you don't have to take them seriously. These accusations have no proof behind them, no evidence behind them. They're just rumors. So men have to stop this. We have to take this seriously. This guy's begging himself. Look, dude, if someone slandered your name and started a rumor, you would want men, other people, to assume that you're innocent until some real proof in your day of court was brought up, right? Exactly. So I want you to use your empathy as a man and put it on to other men. I wouldn't want this to happen to me. Therefore, I don't want it to happen to Russell Brand, okay?
And, you know, somewhat critically of the underlying behavior, you know, despite it still being at the level of anonymous accusations.
Exactly. It's at the level of anonymous accusations, so they're rumors. So at that level, they can be ignored. And not only could be ignored, should be ignored. Otherwise, people can have their lives ruined just because someone doesn't like their face and they make up a lie. But in this case, people, men, by women.
But I am troubled still, you know, by the fact it's stated in the story that this is all coming together now because of who Russell Brand is now, the audience he has now, and the.
This is false. They're trying to say that he's getting more political in his views, and that's why they're doing it, but it isn't. Russell Brand is just the latest Me Too, because that's what's been going on. Everyone's taken their turns. Remember, everybody, Johnny Depp, when he was fighting his case court, 130 feminist organizations were supporting Amber Heard. That's really was the beginning of all this. And one guy after another has been attacked over this.
Contrarian and adversarial relationship he has to the mainstream, and then also that even if, you know, you accept them as true, the accusations, which I'm not saying we're at the point where we should, but
you're at the point where you shouldn't. So he's kind of adding the idea that, oh, he probably is guilty, right?
A deplatforming of his content, of his speech, his words, his things he's created, over that seems very coordinated and very troubling and illiberal to me.
Well, yeah, feminists are coordinated. They're very well coordinated. And being that they're a regressive hate movement, of course, they're not liberal. They're anti-liberal. They're anti-male freedom.
I wanted to give you a chance to weigh in since you have experienced some of this as well as we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth.
Oh, by the way, take a look at the different expressions. She's got the disgusted look on her face, like I want to get Brand so bad. And Blumenthal has that hat in hand look, like a boy who's broken a window and now he's making an apology.
I was on Russell Brand's show on September 11th. It was one of his last shows before the Russell Brand affair. And we were discussing the gray zone being suspended or having its fundraiser suspended due to external concerns by GoFundMe and the whole way that crowdfunding companies.
But now this is apple and oranges, because his own case really was because of his political views. It's not the case with Russell Brand. But guys are like this. They want to make it about political views because men do not want to defend themselves as a gender. Russell Brand is being attacked because of his gender. And because men know they have no value as a gender, they want to make it about something else. Something that's geared to status, which society does care about. Like your political views can be geared to status. So this is a defense reaction by men, okay? And it's a failed one because men should see themselves as people first and be able to stand up for themselves as a gender, okay? Now, Brianna's not going to let this go, and she's got no real ammunition, so she's got to make stuff up.
Because the Obama Foundation, for example, is involved in determining what the disinformation and policy in terms of service are on platforms like YouTube.
So I take your point, Max, but I was talking about this a little bit with a friend.
I take your point, but
Yesterday, and they pointed out that there is a distinction between being allowed on the app, which Russell Brand is still allowed on the app, and being able to monetize your work on the app, which could be potentially analogized to something like working for Uber or a company that you use their platform so that you can earn money. And
I'm going to stop her here, everyone, because she's basically moving the goalpost and saying, hey, Russell Brand's all right. He's not being punished because he can still use YouTube. He just doesn't get paid for it. But I want you to realize that Brianna has her own video, her own channel called Bad Faith. I suspect she monetizes it. And I'm telling you now, I won't suspect, I know she would be pissed if YouTube decided to stop monetizing her channel because of her political views. And she would say it's not right. So she already knows the answer to the question she's giving. So this shows you she's a dishonest person.
They provide you with income via the app. So is there a difference in your view between being actually deplatformed and not being allowed to do speech of any kind, even if the content, the substance of your speech doesn't violate the terms of an app, and whether or not a company like Google or Uber or some other kind of ride-share delivery service decides that as a matter of policy, it doesn't want someone who's been accused of rape or assault or something?
Yeah, but he's not a criminal yet. Until he's proven to be a criminal, he's not a criminal. So there's a giant difference between firing someone because they have a criminal record and firing someone because of rumors. No one deserves to live in a society like this. Woman does not want to lose her income because someone lied about her, slandered her. This is the end of it. Right now, until they prove that Brand is guilty of something, all this is slander. And he can't be, he shouldn't be fired for slander.
Some other crime operating.
Sorry, everyone. That is someone slandering you.
Their vehicles, let's say.
Well, YouTube wants to have it both ways. They want one of their most popular content creators to remain on the platform so he continues to draw an audience to its platform. They can't do to him what they did to Alex Jones, where he's completely removed. And at the same time, they're demonetizing him, which means necessarily and any content creator on YouTube knows this, that his videos will receive much less traffic.
Exactly, Blumenthal. He's being punished. So this person, Brianna, she asked the question she knows the answer to, right? Why, she's moving the goalposts, and he's giving her an honest answer as if she's not as if she's an honest actor. Because men are like this, guys. Here he is begging and trying to say, well, that's wrong, and this is why. He makes his point, and she just keeps coming after him over and over again in this video, because she is not about justice and truth. She wants to get Russell Brand. This woman here does not like men, just like the average woman. She's out to get them, and that's her motivation. And Blumenthal, because he's a typical man and doesn't like the idea that women don't like men, he will say, oh, this woman just doesn't understand. And so I have to explain again, over and over, right? So I'm ending this video and I'm saying, you don't want to be Blumenthal. You don't want to have your head in the sand and try and misframe the issue and avoid the misjustice that's happening to men, right? What's happening to Russell Brand is an injustice. And he's not the only one. So recognize what's going on here. Russell Brand is not being persecuted for his political views by elites. He's being persecuted by women because he's a man. And misandry is a real thing, and it's everywhere. Thank you.